As we get older, we often find ourselves holding on to things we don't even realize are weighing us down. It's not just about physical clutter, but emotional baggage too, old habits, outdated beliefs, and past experiences that no longer serve us. By the time we reach our 70s, many of these things aren't just unnecessary. They've become heavy. They affect our mood, our health, our relationships, and even how much we're able to truly enjoy the present moment. Letting go of these burdens isn't about losing something. It's about making space for more peace, joy, and freedom in our lives. This video isn't about cleaning out your garage or organizing your closet, although we'll touch on that too. It's about something deeper. These are 7 things that many people carry into their later years without realizing how much they're costing them. And once you let them go, what's left behind isn't loss, it's freedom. These aren't just theoretical suggestions. Each of these 7 items is based on real patterns seen in older adults who either thrive or struggle in their later decades. And as simple as they may seem, the impact of releasing just one can be life-changing. So if you're over 70 or getting close and you feel stuck, tired, or just not as light in spirit as you once were, this may be exactly what you need. Let's explore the 7 things to throw away after 70 and why doing so might just be the best gift you ever give yourself. Stay with me to the end, because the final item is something very few people talk about. But it's the one that brings the most peace when you finally let it go. Number 1, the guilt of saying no. There comes a time in life when your time, your energy, and your peace become your most valuable resources. And by the time you reach 70, protecting them should no longer be something you apologize for. Yet so many older adults still carry a quiet burden with them every time they turn down a request, cancel a plan, or simply choose rest over obligation. That burden is guilt. And if you want to experience more freedom in your later years, it's time to throw that guilt away. This doesn't mean becoming selfish, it means becoming selective. It means finally giving yourself permission to prioritize what matters most to you without constantly explaining yourself. For decades, many people, especially those who raised families, built careers, or cared for others, have been conditioned to say yes out of duty, politeness, or fear of disappointing someone. But at this stage in your life, you've earned the right to honor your own boundaries. Think about someone like Carol, 74. After her husband passed, she found herself being pulled into every church event, family gathering, and neighborhood committee, not because she wanted to, but because she didn't want to seem ungrateful. She said yes to everything, even when it left her exhausted. It wasn't until she quietly declined a weekend trip and spent that time painting alone in her kitchen, something she hadn't done in years, that she realized how little space she'd left for her own joy. Saying no is not a rejection of others. It's a recognition of yourself, and in truth, most people understand far more than we assume. When you say no with kindness and clarity, you're not pushing people away. You're setting the terms for a more honest connection. You're showing them what you truly need to stay healthy, peaceful, and present. This kind of boundary also models something important for the next generation. When your children or grandchildren see you taking care of your time and energy, they learn that it's okay to do the same. They learn that life after 70 doesn't have to be about constant obligation. It can be about intentional living. Of course, there will still be moments when you want to say yes, and when you do, you'll know it's coming from a genuine place, not a sense of guilt or pressure. That's the beauty of learning to say no without shame. It makes your yeses mean more. So if you've been carrying the guilt of saying no, it's time to put it down. Let it go. You've spent enough years meeting everyone else's needs. This chapter is about meeting your own and trusting that the people who care about you will understand. Number 2, outdated medical supplies and prescriptions. It's easy to overlook them. They sit quietly in bathroom drawers, kitchen cabinets, or hallway closets. Old pill bottles, expired ointments, leftover antibiotics, half-used prescriptions from years ago. But as harmless as they may seem, keeping outdated medical supplies around after 70 can actually pose real risks. And clearing them out isn't just about tidying up. It's about protecting your health and giving yourself peace of mind. When medications expire, they don't always lose potency in predictable ways. Some become less effective, others can actually degrade and become harmful, and even if they're safe, taking the wrong dose or confusing one medication for another can cause serious side effects, especially if you're managing multiple conditions. At this stage in life, even a small mix-up can lead to big consequences. Let's take Bill, 81, who had a history of heart issues. One afternoon, he reached for what he thought was his blood pressure medication, but accidentally took an old prescription for pain management that had been left in the same container. It wasn't intentional. It was just a matter of packaging, labeling, and mental fatigue. He spent the next day in the emergency room, something that could have been avoided if the expired meds had been tossed years earlier. And it's not just prescriptions. Think about old thermometers that don't work properly, bandages that have lost their adhesive, creams that have long passed their shelf life, even supplements that you no longer take but still store out of habit. These items clutter your space and complicate your decisions. In a moment when you're not feeling well, you need clarity, not confusion. The fix is simple but powerful. Go through your cabinets, look at expiration dates. If it's expired, throw it away safely. Ideally at a pharmacy that accepts old medications. If it's unlabeled or unclear, don't take the risk. If it's something you haven't used in over a year and don't plan to use again, it's likely time to let it go. Keep only what's current, clearly labeled, and truly relevant to your ongoing care. You'll be amazed at the sense of calm this brings. Because when your body needs attention, the last thing you want is a shelf full of chaos. You want a clean, organized space where your medications and supplies reflect exactly where you are. Today, not where you were years ago. Doing this also gives your loved ones peace of mind. If they ever need to step in and help you with your medications or emergency care, they'll know they're working with accurate, updated information. That's not just responsible, it's a gift. Number 3. Negative self-talk. You wouldn't let a stranger stand in your living room and insult you day after day. Yet for many people after 70, a quiet, persistent voice inside does just that. And it's been doing it for years. It says things like, "You're too old to try that. You've made too many mistakes. No one really needs you now." This voice is not wise. It's not helpful. It's not your conscience. It's negative self-talk. And if you want to feel lighter, freer, and more alive in this chapter of your life, it's time to throw it away. This voice often takes root over time. Sometimes it begins in childhood, shaped by harsh words or impossible expectations. Sometimes it comes from past failures or regrets that we never fully released. And often it's reinforced by a culture that whispers, "You're past your prime once you hit a certain age." But here's the truth. Just because a thought shows up doesn't mean it's true. And just because you've thought it 100 times doesn't mean you need to keep thinking it now. You have lived long enough to know that growth doesn't end at 30, 50, or even 80. Every year brings its own form of becoming. And yet, negative self-talk keeps you from seeing that. It robs you of motivation. It steals your joy. It isolates you by convincing you that your struggles are proof of failure rather than part of the human condition. Think of someone like Edna, age 78. She always wanted to learn piano, but every time she looked at a keyboard, that voice said, "You'll never be good at this. It's too late to start." For years, she believed it, until her granddaughter, age 10, asked her to learn a song with her. They started with one note at a time, and now they play together every Sunday. Not because Edna silenced the voice once and for all, but because she stopped letting it drive her decisions. The first step to discarding negative self-talk is noticing it. When you catch yourself thinking something critical, ask, "Would I say this to someone I love? Would I say it to my best friend?" If not, "Why am I saying it to myself?" Challenge the narrative, replace it with truth like, "I've made it through hard things before. I bring value even if I move slower now. I still have things to give, learn, and enjoy." And if you're surrounded by people who reinforce those negative beliefs, gently consider whether those voices need to stay in your life. Protecting. Your mind is just as important as protecting your body. That might mean limiting time with those who drain your confidence, or investing more in those who see your strengths and speak to your potential. You've spent years becoming who you are, and every wrinkle, every scar, every story along the way has value. Your inner dialogue should reflect that. It should honor the strength, wisdom, and resilience that come from living a real life, not a perfect one. So the next time you hear that voice telling you, "You're too old, too slow, too late," talk back. Remind it that you're still here, still growing, still becoming, and that the best version of you isn't behind you. It's still unfolding, one choice at a time. Number 4, clutter that ties you to the past. There's nothing wrong with holding on to a few precious things. Your spouse's favorite book, a sweater that still carries a familiar scent, a photograph that says more than words ever could. These objects aren't clutter. They're memory keepers. But over time, it's easy to cross a line without realizing it. Closets fill with clothes that haven't been worn in 20 years. Cabinets overflow with holiday dishes never used. The basement becomes a museum of old electronics, furniture or hobbies you gave up decades ago. And suddenly you're not preserving your past. You're trapped in it. At first, you might not even notice the weight. It's just stuff, it's tucked away. But it takes up space, not just in your home, but in your mind. It makes it harder to move freely, think clearly, and breathe easily. Every drawer you open, every shelf you dust becomes a reminder, not just of what once was, but of all the decisions you postpone. Should I keep this? What if I need it? What if someone else wants it someday? These questions become emotional quicksand, pulling you back again and again. Think of Leonard, age 80, who kept every tool he ever owned in a shed behind the house. Some were rusted, others hadn't been touched since the 1990s. They reminded him of his working days, the garage he built with his brother, the pride of fixing things himself. Letting go felt like letting go of his identity, until one day his grandson asked to help clean out the shed. They went through every drawer together. Leonard told stories, passed down a few favorite tools, and let the rest go. What remained wasn't just a cleaner space, but a sense of peace and a new kind of connection. Letting go of physical clutter doesn't mean erasing your history. It means curating it, choosing what truly reflects who you are and want to be, rather than holding on out of habit, fear, or obligation. And when you clear that space, something else shows up: energy, focus, even joy. Because you're no longer fighting through the noise of the past to find your way forward. Start small. Ask yourself, do I use this? Do I love this? Does this help me today? If the answer is no, then you're not throwing it away. You're releasing it. You're making space for the life you have now, not just the one you used to live, and don't be afraid to ask for help. Often, going through old belongings with a friend or loved one turns into something more meaningful than you expected. It becomes a moment of sharing, remembering, and honoring, without the burden of carrying it all alone. Let your space reflect your present, not just your past. Because every day you wake up is a chance to live more freely, more intentionally, and more lightly. And it starts with what you choose to keep, and what you finally choose to let go. Number 5. The belief that new friendships aren't possible. As we get older, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that making new friends is something only for the young. We might convince ourselves that the friendships we have are the only ones we need, but the truth is, meaningful friendships aren't bound by age. The belief that new connections are impossible after a certain point can be incredibly limiting, and it's something many older adults hold on to without realizing how much it holds them back. Consider someone like Mary, who's 72. For years, she thought it was too late for her to make new friends. Her closest friends had all moved away or passed on, and she hadn't met anyone she felt she could connect with. But one day she joined a weekly book club at her local library, and everything changed. It wasn't an instant bond, but over time, she formed real, genuine friendships with people who shared her love of literature. Those new friends helped her see that there was always room in life for more connection. Making new friends after 70 isn't about recreating the past. It's about embracing the opportunities in the present. It's about showing up, being open, and allowing yourself to step out of your comfort zone. So if you've been holding on to the idea that new friendships are impossible, it's time to let that belief go. There's always room for more love, more laughter, and more companionship in your life. Number 6. The need to always be busy in our younger years. It often feels like we need to be constantly busy, juggling work, family obligations, and social commitments. But as we grow older, the pressure to stay constantly busy can turn into a burden. For many, the idea of slowing down feels uncomfortable or even guilty. We've been conditioned to think that if we're not busy, we're not being productive, but this couldn't be further from the truth. As you reach your 70s, you've earned the right to take your time. The need to fill every minute of your day with something to do can prevent you from fully enjoying the present. It's time to embrace the beauty of stillness and simplicity. You don't have to be constantly active to feel valued or important. In fact, sometimes the most fulfilling moments come when you give yourself permission to simply be. Take Evelyn, 77, for example. She used to fill her calendar with meetings, social events, and volunteer work, but she found herself feeling drained and disconnected from what truly brought her joy. It wasn't until she started scheduling quiet afternoons, just sitting in her garden, reading a book, or doing absolutely nothing, that she realized how much peace and contentment those moments brought her. She found that slowing down allowed her to reconnect with herself and her passions in a way she hadn't in years. So if you've been holding on to the need to always be busy, it's time to release that pressure. The most precious moments in life often come when we allow ourselves to rest, reflect, and simply enjoy the beauty around us. Number 7. The fear of change. As we grow older, the fear of change can become one of the most powerful forces that hold us back. Whether it's moving to a new place, adjusting to new technology, or simply navigating the natural changes that come with aging, the fear of what's unfamiliar can keep us stuck in our old ways. But holding on to the past out of fear isn't living, it's merely existing. The truth is, change is inevitable, and while it can be uncomfortable, it can also be incredibly liberating. Embracing change, instead of fearing it, opens up a world of new possibilities. It might be as simple as trying a new hobby or taking a different route on your daily walk. Or it might be something more significant, like moving closer to family or downsizing to a more manageable home. Whatever it is, change can bring fresh perspectives, new opportunities, and unexpected joys. For instance, Peter, 80, was terrified when his family suggested he move into a smaller, more accessible home. He had lived in the same house for over 40 years, and the thought of leaving it behind was overwhelming. But after some thought, he realized that the move would actually give him more freedom, less maintenance, more time for himself, and the chance to enjoy his golden years in a new environment. The change turned out to be one of the best decisions he ever made, and he found himself feeling lighter and more energized in his new space. So, if fear of change is something you've been holding on to, it's time to let it go. Change isn't something to fear, it's something to embrace. Every new chapter in life brings with it the opportunity to grow, evolve, and experience new things. The best years of your life could be just around the corner, waiting for you to take that first step into something new. The final thought, embracing the freedom of letting go. As we've explored, letting go of these burdens, guilt, outdated habits, negative self-talk, and the fear of change can open the door to a life of freedom, peace, and renewed joy. After 70, it's not about trying to hold on to everything you once were, but rather embracing who you are now and who you have the potential to become. By shedding these heavy, unnecessary things, you create space for new opportunities, new connections, and new experiences. You allow yourself to live with more intention, to cherish the present, and to focus on what truly matters. The freedom that comes with letting go is more than just physical. It's emotional, mental, and spiritual. It's the freedom to live without the weight of guilt, outdated beliefs, or the pressure of constant busyness. Letting go is not about loss. It's about reclaiming your time, your peace, and your ability to enjoy life to its fullest. It's about giving yourself permission to live in a way that aligns with your true needs, desires, and values. It's about embracing your age and knowing that there's no expiration date on joy, growth, or meaningful relationships. So, as you reflect on these 7 things that may be holding you back, consider how you can begin to release them, one by one. It's never too late to make a change. It's never too late to choose a lighter, more fulfilling path. Remember, the best part of life is the part you're living right now, and it's up to you to make it as vibrant, peaceful, and meaningful as possible. Let go of what's weighing you down and make room for the new chapters that await. You've earned it.